Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to a detailed FIFA 13 breakdown of the trailer, going through it frame by frame so you don't have to. Now, I could go through it really quickly and just bomb through all the details that are very visible on screen, but like a fine meal, I think this is worth savouring over, taking in all the details and enjoying the flavour. Of course, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the trailer itself and if I missed any of the key details. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. First things first, if you've been living under a rock or somehow missed the memo, EA Sports has signed Messi up to be their poster child and the face of FIFA 13. So of course you can expect plenty of him in the trailer. Now, this first-person perspective is fairly interesting, but don't get too excited unfortunately. This is the trademark and calling card of Marius, who works with EA for their trailers and video production, and has used it before in his Warfare series, which is well worth checking out. It's just a stylized camera used in post-production, so I wouldn't get too excited about it being a new camera angle or for your Virtual Pro. The first two players that Messi gets past in this trailer is an example of the complete dribbling system new to FIFA 13. He faces up the goal, faces up the defender, and just breezes by them. It looks kind of similar to an animation used in FIFA 12, but I can tell you that it is different from playing with it. And of course it finishes with Messi's customary dink. Next up we have a menu which basically breaks down all the elements of FIFA and those that will be shown in the trailer. I zoomed in and took a look at it frame by frame, but unfortunately there's no more than meets the eye. Even the small text that's looping around and really difficult to see just reinforces what we see. David Rutter has used the expression time and time again of predictably unpredictable, a phrase coined by the special one himself. Now this ball could have gone into touch, but the angle of his body, the spin on the ball and the angle that he's attacking it from means that it stays in play and just pops up nicely for him. Perfectly good slide tackle here, but Pato may be disorientated by the fact that he teleports. Out by the touchline, centre circle, touchline, centre circle. The clip of the push-pull here doesn't quite show another aspect of it, and that's that it may force people to take bad touches. It does push them off balance, but we're used to seeing that before. Here we have a lovely scorpion kick, and it's actually saved, which may indicate that there is hope for goalkeepers yet, and maybe those amazing goals and compilations will be truly special because they are more rare. Neymar with the hocus pocus, and hopefully a real face from the looks of it. Unfortunately, we don't see the result of the impact engine here, but we can only hope that they both get up in one piece. Moving on into head-to-head seasons, one of the core features of FIFA, of course, the numbers don't quite add up in terms of the form and his record, but let's not split hairs. The most obvious and notable feature is that you can win division titles before you get to Division 1. Now, if you're in a rush to get to Division 1, the downside is you will have to play your games, unless of course they do implement a feature where you can skip once you're promoted. If you do go for all your division titles and cups, of course, you now have a trophy room to display your wares, which is always nice when people come over and you want to show off a little bit, or relive your former glories. As this player's best division is Division 1, we can only assume that the trophies on top are for those higher up, and of course Division 1 itself. The other interesting thing about this screen is in the bottom right hand corner next to the player's name. Of course we're all used to the experience points and the levels, but there is this other icon. Could this represent credits? What do you think yourselves? Then we have a couple of shots that don't really need that much analysis as far as I can tell. Bit of impact engine, bit of gesturing, and then a flick past a defender. And finally we get to one of the core improvements of FIFA, and that's the attacking intelligence. The striker sees that he's been covered by the defender and that the pass won't be on, so he takes a couple of steps and gets into space as a result. A lot of attention has been paid to the attacking options off free kicks, but in defense as well you can kind of edge forward, but if the referee has enough of it he will book you, so don't try to replicate Zaire's antics. Also, this shot shows that Alaba may have a real face. Moving swiftly along, we have the match day feature. This draws upon and reflects real world form, injuries and suspensions. However, it is worth noting that it's optional, so you can still use the default database. Couple of things to note and go back on. Now, bear in mind the ratings will probably change, but they might give you an indication as to what they're currently at. So with each player you can see their current overall rating, or their regular overall rating in the black. You can see what they're up or down by with the green or red writing, and of course what they're currently at in the arrow itself. As you can see, it can have quite an impact, with Doumbia for example going up by 8 up to 80. Interestingly enough, there's a couple of different search tabs. We're currently on all, which is showing in-form and out-of-form players. Presumably you can go for just in-form and just out-of-form. But the other option is on the left-hand side where it's currently set to players. I'm kind of wondering what the first option is. Here we get treated to some stats from the teams based on how they're doing in match day. So as you can see, City are usually rated 84, 84, 81, but because of the match day they're up to 86, 85, 83. United on the other hand are usually rated 83, 83, 82 if my eyes aren't deceiving me. Then again, with the match day they're up to 87, 85, 81. As you can see, you'd also get an indication as to the current number of players in and out of form. So City are up 6 and down 2, whereas United are completely out of form. Here you see the first touch control in action. It bobbles up nicely for him, which I have seen in action, and it looks very impressive. Of course, the other side of things is that you will take a horrible first touch, and if you sprint onto passes for example, you'll really pay for it. A look at some of the skill games now. We have the dribbling in and out of the post, which we've seen. We have a bit of hurdling, so you'll be able to replicate what Messi did to Pepe in the first shot and leap over a tackle, and of course a bit of shooting practice with 8 attempts to get as many points as possible. The complete dribbling will be familiar to anyone who played FIFA Street. Essentially you're just facing up the goal and your opponent, and you can do a little bit of fancy footwork on the spot. The one thing to note when I played the game was that you couldn't do skill moves while holding the complete dribbling, so you will have to work on getting your triggers to work in sync. Here's a new fake shot animation, maybe a little bit of showboating, and maybe quite effective at the same time. And onto the mode that makes many people go shut up and take my money to EA, FIFA Ultimate Team. This initial screen is interesting because there's so little given away. We've got 4 different leagues represented and 5 different nations. Are these select 5 the best players in their country, for their clubs? Obviously not league because Benzema and Messi play in the same one of course. Or does it mean nothing at all? The new Ultimate Team menu is looking pretty slick, it has to be said. First up, on the single player side you have your individual tournaments as you've always had, and you also have your single player season. There are 5 divisions in total, each will have certain conditions which you have to meet to be able to progress. The multiplayer and online season on the other hand is all about bringing your best squad to the table and earning your promotion. The online tournaments on the other hand will work as they always have, with various requirements to enter for special tournaments and your best squads for the other tournaments. It's going to be pretty seamless to challenge the team of the week, and you'll also get rewards in kind for beating them. Is the bronze card on display here an indication of what the reward will be? If you direct your attention to the bottom right, again we see that familiar icon, but this time there's 1 million of whatever it is. I'm assuming credits at this point because it is linked to EA Sports Football Club as well. The levels max out at 100, so I have a long way to go yet. Now, joining coins and record in the top right hand corner as we usually see is FIFA points. I have a video dedicated to that very same question. But to break it down for you, it was the currency used on the PC version, replacing Microsoft points and PlayStation currency. Now this process is being streamlined as well by EA Sports, possibly because of the trouble they've had recently with Microsoft points and buying packs with them. So for now you'll have to redeem your points as normal and then purchase FIFA points from there. It'll be interesting to see how the conversion rate works. A freeze frame for you here now because who doesn't like a look at ratings? These cards are using the exact same stats that are on the Chuz site, which is linked in the description below, and I did a video on it the other day. So it is worth bearing in mind that they are test ratings and it is worth taking with a pinch of salt. However, it is interesting nonetheless and it's definitely worth a bit of debate. I will break down some of the other elements of Ultimate Team and the other announcements from Gamescom in a video later, but for now let's just focus on the trailer. All I will add to this shot is that the 5 players featured earlier on the menu are featured again in this team. We've got another fake shot here which looks class, it has to be said. It'll probably work well if you're good at the close dribbling and if you're against people who like to slide tackle, but otherwise it'll probably be just safe for showboating. No words needed here. Here's the tactical free kicks in full flow anyway, but I'm not quite sure if you'll be able to dink it like this. Maybe a subtle press of the cross button for example. But anyway, it's a fine shot and it's a magnificent save from Joe Hart. Also, if you've got a keen eye, this is White Hart Lane. This is what it looks like as a new partner. Some more gameplay, a nice little flick up off the first touch, fine finish into the bottom left, and of course Balotelli celebrating in customary style. Cracking strike from Benzema here and an interesting goal celebration to say the least. And we wrap things up with a magnificent first touch from Messi and then finishes it off brilliantly. So, will you be joining the FIFA 13 club? Demo is out on the 11th of September anyway, the game is out then later in September. Thanks very much for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown.